Hello learners, I am Dr. Subodh Kesherwani working with Indira Gandhi National Open University, and the topic which I am going to talk today is basics of computer softwares. We have three series of lectures in this particular theme, which is part of our course called Computer Application Business, which is a third semester BCom program, and we are here with the 4 units of this particular block. And if we talk about this particular block talks about the foundation of information technology. So in this foundation, we are just starting with the introduction to computers, then talking about application of computers, and then we have basics of computer software. So what we observe that this basics of computer software is very important, because we have talked about hardware, we have talked about computers, and software role is more important, because software in the present scenario is more customized in nature, more application oriented, and it can design or tailor made as per the circumstances. And when you are talking about the customization, when you're talking about the consumer friendly approach, I think computer software is somewhere which is changing with the change of time. And somewhere what we observe that the technology, as far as the change of technology is concerned, change of usage is concerned, there is a great use of software, because software had bring a paradigm shift in this computer industry. And if you see this particular course, this is talking about the computer application in business. And when you talk more about the business, I think today business is the more technological business. There was a time when we do the business, when we govern the business through brick and mortar mode, or the trade was just with the in a barter trade mode, where commodity was replaced with the help of commodity. Then there was the use of money, then plastic money, then wallets, and then you find out the virtual currency. So this had brought a change. And when you talk about the software had given flexibility to all the individuals, or to the consumers, to the whole business fraternity, to revamp themselves and try to find out the product which can directly facilitate the consumers by and large, or help the consumers. So this software is changing, and it had bring a lot of change. So if you talk about its application, if you talk about the system software, which is a breakup of that is application software, system software, and hardware. So even the hardware is changing with the change of technology. There are certain chip which are imbibed in the hardwares, and which can facilitate the hardwares to work in that direction. So there also you find out this software is going to play a very important role. So this is a skill enhancement 4 credit elective course, as I have talked about. And if you see this particular image, you find out that there was a user, there was an application, then operating system, and then hardware. So we start with the hardware, and no doubt physical appearance is going to play a very important role. If somebody wants to execute the software, the machine required, so hardware is just a machine, a physical appearance. Then you have an operating system which can govern that hardware, because starting the hardware, for starting a hardware you require an operating system. And then once you operate the system, once you boot the system, once you get into the system, thereafter the application role is going to play a very important role. And if you see the present scenario, the smartphone had taken a shape of this hardwares, and then the operating systems are the Android, which we will talk about in the later PPTs. And then once you have an application like operating system, this software like operating system, then the applications comes. So for that the Google Play is there, and Google Play provides the platform to download the applications and run on that particular application. Say if I want to watch the movies, or do the web streaming, for that or watch the web series, we have Netflix, Prime Video, and other thing. For multimedia, we have got multimedia and videos, we have got YouTube. For shopping, we have got the e-commerce portals like Amazon or Flipkart. Like for airlines or for aviation, we have booking the tickets. Either the train tickets we can book through IRCTC, or through certain Air India platforms, or through Make My Trip or other platforms. So what I mean to say that you name the segment, you name the domain, you will find out that for every domain, for every the sectors, there is an applications. Either you talk about the learning, I think electronic learning, we have app. If you talk about the IGNOU have also come up with their own app for the study materials. So where the learners don't have to visit to the particular domain or to the main portal of IGNOU, just they go to the IGNOU app and download the particular courses from there. So these are the model which is there, and on the other hand, as far as the video contents are concerned, we are going to make a separate application for that. So what we have seen that based on the application, the users are there, and there are certain users which are using certain particular applications. So like if somebody wants to order the food, they can order the food through Swiggy, Zomato or Food Panda. So what I mean to say that you name the segment, you name the sectors, you find out the users are there to provide the facility, to facilitate, to customize the whole phenomena, the whole process. This pedagogy had been developed, which started with the hardware, operating system, applications, and users. And in the beginning stage, all those things were more what not so agile in nature, but right now it's quite agile and quite integrated in nature, and things are linked with one another. So and authenticity and integrity is going to play a very important role, because when you talk about the authenticity, when you talk about the integrity, authenticity is like the payment wallets are linked and how it is going to be authenticated. And when you talk about the integrity, you can do many things. You can do the shopping, you can make the payment, you can pay your utility bills, you can get the cashbacks, you can use that cashbacks for the future use. So certain wallets are there which are in-house developed by the particular portal. So what I mean to say that these operating systems, these application softwares are changing with the change of time, and we see that there are a lot of changes in the application softwares, and there are certain the explorers which are there. Preceding lectures we have talked about the internet explorers also. So there was a time when we are quite rigid and we are just confined to only one or two internet explorers, but right now n number of these browsers are there, internet browsers are there, which are helping the individuals to do many things. So because whole things are right now on internet, whole things are on cloud. So this cloud computing, this other model is going to play a very important role. So you see this how the operating system had changed. It started with Unix, which was open source kind of, and then we have MS-DOS. And when you talk about the open source is like the source code. When we run any program, that programs develop or maintain with the help of certain codes, and that codes are sometimes not shared by the individual overall. But on the other hand, when you talk about the open source, these open source codes are shared by the developers to all. They can use it, they can customize it. So then what we have observed that MS-DOS was there, which was on the CUI format, which we usually call command user interface. And then we have right now MS Windows, Microsoft Windows, which was a graphical user interface model. Then certain versions were there, 98, XP, now 10. And you find out that with the change of time, this operating system had also been changed. So there was a time when operating system was exclusively for the computers, for the desktops, for the laptops, but for smartphones, the different kind of operating system had come up, which is now working and quite omnipresent in nature, that is Android. So we will definitely find out what is the difference between the operating system which is usually used for the smartphones and operating system which we use for the desktops or the laptops. So prior to going into the depth, what exactly we are going to cover in this thing, that is basics of computer softwares. That is software, system software, application software. Google Chrome is the browser, and then app-based software. And when we talk about the app-based software, application-based software is very important in the present scenario, because as a consumer, as a learner, as an individual, I don't have a time. If I am using the learning, if I am educating myself, if I am learning somewhere through the electronic mode or through M-learning mode, I need a learning software which is exclusively designed for teaching, which can have features of virtual instructors, virtual enablers, or the teachers who can facilitate me. It need to be equipped with the content management system, learning management system, or the massive open online courseware format. So and it is equipped with submission of assignment. So whatever the features the learning softwares have, or the teaching tool which we usually do in a brick and mortar mode could be converted into an online mode. So then we have Windows operating system, we have Android operating system for mobile, and free and open source software. This is something which is very important, and these free and open software had given roof to a lot of the grassroots technocrats or entrepreneurs to start their own business with the help of that, because buying a software is not everybody cup of tea. And when you're going to buy a software, you have to pay a huge royalty, and there's certain license which is there. So Windows is a licensed software which is run on the basis of license. You have to extend the license after a certain time, and you have to pay the license fee year after year. Whereas when you're talking about the operating system which are in a free and open source manner, you don't have to pay. In fact, you can download the source code, you can revamp the source code, and you can reuse it for your purpose, and you can sell it for the other purpose. So these are the privileges which are there when you are talking about this computer software. And Google Play Store is a new milestone in this direction, and is a new step in this direction. We have seen that all the apps which are available on the smartphone could be routed through Google Play Store, because Google Play Store not only monitored the app which is not of foolproof nature, but on the other hand provide you reviews about the particular apps. So this is a way by which you can able to know which app is going to be foolproof for your machine or not. So anyway, we are going to talk about the basics of the computer software, and we are in the fourth step right now. And this, while going through these 4 lectures, one can very easily understand what are the fundamentals of computers, because to understand about the different aspects of computer applications vis-a-vis in business, we have to know what exactly the computers are, the basic definitions of the computers. Then the certain things will go on. So understand softwares and their types, understand the Windows operating system. I have already talked about how the applications of free and open source software is there, and which we usually call FOSS, and Google Play Store for application based software. So if you see this particular image, you will find out that at the bottom we have inner circle, we have hardware, and when you talk about the system software, the circle is quite bigger, and system software takes into consideration the hardware also. So hardware is a very important ingredient, because if you don't have a machine, if you don't have a equipment, you can't run the application software. To run the application software, the prerequisite is hardware. And when you move one step ahead, you find out the system software, the utility software is there, operating system, utilities, and other software are there, which are helpful in bridging the gap. And once you boot the system, then application softwares. And while going as far as the discussion is concerned, in the forthcoming unit, you will find out that we have a dedicated separate block on word processing, we have dedicated separate block on multimedia videos and PowerPoint, and then we have Excel and spreadsheets. So you observe that these are considered as application software, and internet browser is considered to be application software, because it's a browsing app where one can redirect themselves to the internet, or access the search engines or the windows or the other things. So computer gaming and other things are there. So a lot of ways by which the things are there. So application software, then system software, and hardware is there. And as far as the application software is concerned, there also you need a hardware. So hardware could be central processing unit, it could be disk, it could be printer, it could be the motherboard, or the inside equipment which can execute the application software or system software. So there could be a more elaborative definition which talks about that system software could be operating system, it could be debugger, it could be assembler, or compiler, whereas application software are many in nature. And with the change of time, you will find out that a lot of application softwares are available, and some are in a cloud mode, some are in a brick and mortar mode, and some are in a application based, and for e-commerce, for e-learning, for hospitals, for banking. You find n number of application softwares which are confined or have a particular feature only. So word processing, spreadsheet communications, graphic databases, all those are the part of the application software. So their type of operating system I have already talked about. Microsoft Windows is a licensed version. Then Apple Mac OS is also one of the operating system which runs exclusively on the machines made by the Apple or the iPhones. And then you have Linux which is an operating system and in a free and open source manner. So the whole operating system would be available to you. You can retwist it, you can customize the software, and you can use it for your purpose, and you can sell it for the other purpose. So there will be no infringe of copyright because it's open in nature, and only thing is that you have to endorse, you have to acknowledge the real owners, and you can use it. So this is the beauty of the operating system which is there. And if you compare the application software with the operating system, you find out that Android is one of the operating system which is now using for the smartphones. On the other hand, we have for Apple we have another operating system which is used for the Apple machines, and then you have some other operating system which was used by the BlackBerry or by the Nokia phones in the beginning stage. But as far as the footfall is there, as far as the presence is concerned, I think the three more important softwares which are playing a very important role, that is Windows, Android and Macintosh, which we usually call. On the left side, you will find out that we have got certain application software started with the MS Word. Then you have email software also, application software which can be used, which we usually call Gmail or Hotmail, or the Microsoft is also having email facility. So purpose is very clear that you can use the email by this approach. And then Google Drive format had come up in the present scenario, which is now more prominent in nature, and which provide you a facility to upload the data on the web, and from there you can just directly work on it. So you can access the file, you can share the file to hundreds of people, you can share the file to thousands of people, and thousands of people can work automatically on that particular file. So there is no such barriers which can provide the platform that only one can use at one time. The 1,000 people can use at a similar time. So then YouTube is there, which is the multimedia format, and you find out that it can provide you many things, like you can upload your own video, edit your video, then upload, or you can float certain information in a multimedia format. So these are the certain changes which are coming up. In the coming days, you will find out more things are going to become. So if you talk about, we have there are certain common applications which are there. Microsoft Office, as I have talked about. So this is one step ahead to that. Now PDF is a very, very prominent term which we are using, this portable digital format. So where you can convert the text into a PDF format which cannot be editable, or which can be used in an editable format at a later stage. So these are the consumer friendly approach, and more the format is coming up, and MS Office is a basket of certain application software which have got a combination of spreadsheet, Word, Outlook, Express, where you can regulate your emails, and then the PowerPoint or the other format is there. So intention is very clear. They are giving you a platform which can be exclusively used for the office purpose. You can store the data, office data, you can in a spreadsheet, you can do the presentation through PowerPoint, you can make the reports, or draft a letter through Microsoft Word, or then you can email through Outlook. So these are certain things. And on the other hand, the front page is there where you can do the small coding and develop the other things. So Microsoft Office basket is quite bigger, and then comes the Android. Android is a need of an hour in the present scenario. We see that how the Android is coming up with a lot of versions, and if you go through, started with alpha, beta, then Eclairs, then Nougat, and then So you name all the big chocolates, or the melodies, or the desserts, you find out this Android is using that name. So right now the Oreo is the latest version. So in the coming years more versions are coming up. So this Android is giving a lot of way to the applications to make it more friendly for the users. And right now the user of smartphones are more in numbers when you compare with the users of desktops or laptops. So this had given them a platform to work in that direction. So now the thing is that free and open source software is there, which we usually call FOSS. So free and open source software is a software that can be classified as both free softwares and open source software. So if you talk about the open source, I have already mentioned that open is something which is a very powerful in a present scenario. Either you talk in a learning perspective, or you talk in a development perspective, or you talk in a technology perspective. Open provide a freedom to speak, a freedom to cross the barriers of money, freedom to cross the barriers of license. So when you talk about the open is changing with the change of time. And if you see in a learning perspective, Indira Gandhi National Open University is a open university. So why we have used this term called open? The intention was very clear. In 1985, when this university had been formulated, the whole country was using the blackboard and chalk. So and nobody had thought of that without chalk and duster, how the institution can run. And this institution had created a paradigm shift, created a learning format. They have developed their own indigenous self-learning material, which was open in nature. And intention was very clear. The material is going to be used for the bona fide student, for the learners who are studying or pursuing their course from this institution, and on the other hand it can be useful for the others also. So what we observed, that those who are preparing for their civil services exams, those who are preparing for their various exams, they have started referring the material of the Indira Gandhi National Open University, though they are not the bona fide student. So and university had no objection to that. So this is called openness, because when you talk about the openness, open provide you the free approach. So what is going on in the world, that buying a software is not everybody's cup of tea. It's really a very cumbersome process. And we have observed that those who are the grassroots entrepreneurs, those who are the grassroots technocrats, if they want to start any entity, if they want to start anything, for them, buying the software in the beginning stage, because they have got a scarcity of the capital, and when they have got the scarcity of capital, they are not in a position to invest amount on the license version. So this open format had come up. So a lot of entrepreneurs have started using this Linux operating system in lieu of the Windows, so that when they are using this this operating system, Linux or Unix, they have got a free license. And when they have got a free license, they are using it, and there is no infringe of copyright, and there is no question of copying study and from there. So this had given roof to a lot of the grassroots or the first generation, the initiators to start their process. And we have seen that there are certain companies, there are certain industries who have followed this open source platform, and they have generated a huge amount. So and when they have worked on it, when they have customized it, they have floated it again for the future purpose for the others. So this is basically called giving back to the society. So open is something which always believes that how you're going to contribute to the society by and large, so that it can encourage the people. And there are certain volunteers who are located in certain institutions, certain technocrats, certain academicians, or maybe certain startups or the incubator cells who are working day and night to develop a product which can be voluntarily used by all the organizations. So this is the contrast to proprietary software, where the software is under restrictive copyright license and the source code is usually hidden from the users. So what we observe that the copyright is almost free, and one can use it. So if you see the difference between Windows and Android, the Windows was developed by the Microsoft Incorporation, and Google had developed this Android. Launched in 1985, almost 15 years back. If you talk about the Android, and I have already talked about its Windows is the licensed version, and Android is somewhat free, and it preferred it's following the kernel type Linux based system, uh, uh, which have a preferred license as far as Apache 2.0 and GPL version 2 is concerned, and it's free of cost. And this is a software which is built in smartphones, and if the manufacturers want certain customization in the Android, then only they are able to get paid. Otherwise, the Android is giving this software at a throwaway price or at a very very lucrative price. So, if you see this free and operating system, that this free and false vision have got a very different vision, and creating and enhancing value using free and open source software within the ICT framework for providing efficient, economical, secure, and quality services. So, reduced vendor is there, lock-in period is there, and reduced total cost of ownership. And when you talk about the total cost of ownership is very important in the present scenario, because when we buy any software, we are not in a position to know that this is just a trailer to that, and the whole movie is still left, because the software cost is a very costly affair, and when you are going to buy the software, you don't think that the software require certain running cost. So it is like when you are going to talk about the software, it is a rabbit. When you go for evaluation, take a shape of elephant, and when you go for final implementation, it take a shape of a dinosaur, because if you thought that the cost of the software is 10 lakh rupees, it's not exactly the 10 lakh rupees, because you have to change the mindset of the individual, you have to employ the technocrats, you have to employ the people who can run the software, and then a lot of softwares are involved, a lot of cost all involved, which end of the day enhance the total cost. And when you talk about the total cost of ownership, then the total cost of ownership is not 10 lakh, but 5 times of that. It happens, and those organizations who are not aware with this phenomena, they are on the deathbeds, and they don't know that what is going to be happen when this tenure, when the term is going to over. So this total cost of ownership always believes in the total cost, which includes the annual maintenance contract, or the running cost, or maybe the total cost. So increased growth of knowledge based society, because the way knowledge based society is changing. I think when any startup is coming up and going to start their business, for them it's really tough to invest a lot in technology or in cost. So and software is one of the important ingredients to run the application. So what we observe that this as far as the growth of knowledge based society is concerned, this free and open source software vision is very important, because this believes in the philosophy of reaching to the unreached, and talks about that aspect. So I think if you see more about MongoDB and other things, these are the certain open source softwares. WordPress is there, then OpenSUSE is there, then Python is there, MySQL is there, which is used for the database and other things. And Google Play is one of the important steps in this direction, because it is a digital distribution service operated by Google. It serves as the official app store for device running on the Google certified Android operating system, and anybody can download directly on the Android device through the proprietary Play Store mobile app, or by deploying the applications. So Google Play, if we talk about the services included in Google Play, are Google Play Books, Google Play Games, Google Play Movies and TVs, and Google Play Music are formerly Google Play Newsstands. So these are certain applications. If you find out, you will find out in Google, which is there, and once can go and upload that. So anyway, I think I have talked a lot about computer softwares, and we know that the backbone of any of the computer is the software, because the way software is changing with the change of time. This had given paradigm shift to the to all the industries. Either it could be the service industry or manufacturing industry or the learning industry, or the industry which is coming up, because the change of the industry is changing with the change of time, and the product is also changing with the change of time. There was a time when the shelf life of the product was 30 years, 20 years, but right now it's narrowed down to 5 years. So their application in software is going to play a very important role. More you are equipped with the softwares, more you are equipped with the latest trends, you will find out this all can give a niche to the business, and your the grooming of the business can go up. In our next session we are going to talk more about the different aspects, how the things are going to be changed. We have completed the 4 blocks, one block with 4 units, and in coming days you will find out we are going to talk more about that. Thank you very much.